Your mind's not broken, it's just overloaded. These 7 Stoic secrets will help you regain control and clarity. No meditation needed. Subscribe now and take back your focus. The first one is, pause before you react. It sounds simple, but in a world that demands instant replies, instant opinions, and instant outrage, it's anything but easy. Most of us live in what you could call reaction mode. Someone says something annoying, we snap. A notification hits, we check it. A headline offends us, we post, share, and argue. Before we've even had time to think, we've already acted. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best. It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. In other words, it's not the event that causes us stress, it's how we choose to interpret it. Modern life doesn't give us space, but Stoicism does. This principle, pause before you react, isn't about silence or passivity. It's about control. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't let someone else's words dictate your inner peace. When your coworker sends a snarky message, when your partner forgets something important, when traffic makes you late, there is a brief moment, just a flicker of time, between what happens and what you do next. And in that tiny space is your power. A Stoic doesn't suppress their emotions. They observe them. They slow the moment down, not by force, but by awareness. That rude email you just got? Before you type a reply, pause. Take one breath. Reread it. Ask yourself, what's actually being said here? Is this worth your energy? Is your response going to help? Or just add more noise? This isn't weakness. It's strength with direction. It's choosing clarity over chaos, reason over impulse. You don't need a meditation app to do this. You just need to catch the moment when a fire starts and decide not to throw gasoline on it. Pause before you react, because that single pause might save your peace, your relationships, and your day. The second one is daily death reflection, known by the Stoics as memento mori, remember you must die. At first, it might sound dark, maybe even uncomfortable, but the Stoics didn't reflect on death to feel afraid. They did it to wake up. They understood something we often forget. That time is not promised. That each day is a gift, not a guarantee. And that nothing sharpens your focus like remembering it could all end today. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and one of the great Stoic minds, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." He wasn't being dramatic. He was being honest. Because when you remember that you are mortal, the noise fades. The little annoyances shrink. The arguments, the grudges, the scrolling, the comparing, the worrying about what someone thinks of you. None of it matters as much. And what does matter starts to shine. That one conversation with your mother. That moment your child laughs from the back seat. That walk you almost didn't take because you were too busy. That sunset outside your window while your phone begged for attention. Memento mori doesn't ask you to fear death. It asks you to appreciate life more. Because of it, in our modern world, we're constantly rushing. From one task to the next. From one notification to the next dopamine hit. But when you live with the awareness that time is finite, you slow down. Not because you have to, but because you want to. You start asking better questions. Is what I'm doing today worthy of my limited time on Earth? Would I be proud if this were my last day? This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. You don't need to meditate in silence for hours to become mindful. Sometimes, all it takes is remembering that the clock is ticking, and your time is valuable. So the next time you catch yourself lost in distraction, pause. Say it to yourself, memento mori, and return your attention to what matters most. That's not morbid. That's freedom. The third one is, control the controllables. 3 simple words, but when truly understood, they have the power to reshape how you respond to almost everything in life. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He wasn't wrong. How much of your anxiety, your frustration, your stress comes not from what's actually happening, but from what you think might happen? You rehearse arguments that never take place. You stress over outcomes you can't influence. You carry the weight of the world, even though most of it isn't yours to carry. Stoicism teaches us a powerful filter. Divide everything in your life into two categories: what you can control and what you cannot. That's it. And what falls into your control? Very little, actually. Your thoughts, your choices, your effort, your attitude. That's the core. Not other people, not traffic, not delays, not the news, not the algorithm, not whether someone understands you, agrees with you, likes your post, or returns your energy. Just you. You can't control if it rains today, but you can carry an umbrella or decide not to complain. You can't control someone's opinion of you, but you can live with integrity so that your own opinion of you is solid. You can't control your past, but you can control the next word, the next step, the next choice. When you stop wasting your energy trying to fix, force, or fight things outside your influence, something surprising happens. Your mind gets quieter, your body feels lighter, your decisions become sharper, and your attention returns to the present moment where real power lives. This is what mindfulness looks like, according to the Stoics. Not detaching from a world, but choosing what deserves your mental space. When you train yourself to say, "This is outside my control," I release it. And, "This is mine to handle," I face it. You start living on your terms. You stop being pulled by every emotion, every trend, every comment, every circumstance. You stop being a leaf blown by the wind, and instead, you become the root, grounded, steady, clear. It's not easy. You'll forget. You'll get frustrated. But every time you remember, every time you choose to control only what is yours, you strengthen a habit that rewires your entire relationship with stress and chaos. That's the Stoic way. And it starts with this simple but profound shift. Control the controllables. Let the rest go. The fourth one is, practice voluntary discomfort. Now that might sound unnecessary in a world where comfort is the standard. Warm beds, fast food, air conditioning, entertainment at the push of a button. Everything is designed to keep us content, cozy, and entertained. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. Comfort can dull the mind. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, chose to sleep on the ground at times, not because he had to, but because he knew the dangers of ease. He understood that if you never test yourself, life will test you when you're not ready. So what does it mean to practice discomfort? It means choosing short moments of challenge on your own terms. Not to suffer, not to punish yourself, but to remember how capable you are, and to sharpen your awareness of the present moment. Take a cold shower. Go a few hours without eating. Walk instead of driving. Turn off your phone for a day. Skip the sugar. Lift a heavy thing. Choose the stairs. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. These aren't grand gestures. They're small acts of resistance against the numbing effects of convenience. Because here's the thing. When life is too easy, your senses fall asleep. You forget how strong you are. You forget how little you actually need. You forget how quickly the world can change and how important it is to build resilience before it's required. The Stoics didn't fear hardship. They welcomed moments of it, not because it felt good, but because it kept them grounded. They believed that if you expose yourself to manageable discomfort now, you'll be calm and prepared when greater difficulties arrive. Voluntary discomfort doesn't make you weaker. It builds something inside you that no comfort ever could. Grit, focus, clarity, presence. When you take a cold shower, you feel everything. You breathe deeper. Your mind becomes alert. You're forced into now. And that is the gift. Discomfort brings you back to life. So ask yourself, where have you gotten too soft? Too dependent on ease? Too used to avoiding anything that feels even slightly difficult? And then try something small. No need for extremes. Just one decision a day that says, I can do hard things. I am not fragile. I choose awareness over comfort. In those moments, you reconnect with something ancient and essential. Your ability to adapt, to endure, to act with intention. That's not about suffering, it's about strength. And it starts the moment you stop running from discomfort and start leaning into it on purpose. Practice voluntary discomfort, not because you must, but because it wakes you up to life. The fifth one is, use negative visualization. In Latin, The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of misfortunes. At first, it might sound pessimistic. Why would you want to imagine things going wrong? Why think about setbacks, delays, or worst-case scenarios? But the answer is simple. Because life isn't always smooth. And your peace shouldn't depend on perfection. This practice isn't about expecting the worst. It's about preparing your mind to face anything. With calm, with courage, with clarity. Here's how it works. Before your day begins, pause for just a moment. And picture it not going exactly the way you'd like. You're late. It rains. You spill coffee on your shirt. Someone speaks to you with disrespect. Your plans get rearranged. A door closes. A task takes longer than it should. A friend disappoints you. You fall short of your own expectations. Now see yourself handling it. Not panicking. Not blaming. Not breaking. Just breathing, adjusting, responding. You picture the challenge, and you pre-decide your response. That's not negativity. That's mental strength. That's rehearsing calm. Seneca practiced this often. He would reflect on losing wealth, facing illness, being exiled. Not to worry himself, but to remind himself that he could survive it. That his peace wasn't tied to fortune or comfort, but to his mindset. So when life did throw something unexpected at him, it didn't shake him, because in his mind, he had already been there. Modern mindfulness often teaches you to clear your thoughts or escape stress. But Stoic mindfulness says, go toward the thought. Sit with it. Prepare for it. That's how you build real peace. Not by pretending the world is safe, but by strengthening your inner response no matter what it brings. Negative visualization gives you something powerful. Immunity to surprise. You no longer walk through your day hoping everything goes your way. You walk through it ready for whatever comes. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you steady. It makes you present, because you've already faced discomfort in your mind and made peace with it. So when it actually arrives, you don't flinch. You simply act. This practice doesn't take long. Just a minute before you begin your day. Ask what could go wrong today. Then ask, if it does, how will I carry myself? And just like that, you've created a mental shield. Not one that hides you from life, but one that equips you to live it fully, no matter what it brings. Use negative visualization, not because you expect the worst, but because it allows you to show up at your best. The sixth one is journal. Don't just think. You might believe journaling is just for writers, or that it's optional, something extra. But to the Stoics, it was a daily ritual, a mental discipline, a sharpening tool. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, kept a journal, and what we now read as Meditations was never written for an audience. It wasn't a book. It was him reflecting, questioning, reminding himself how to live. And that's the lesson. Journaling isn't about being eloquent. It's about being honest. Your thoughts are fast. They jump. They repeat. They loop. They carry the weight of emotion and opinion, often without order. But when you write, everything slows down. Writing forces clarity. It invites stillness. It untangles what feels like chaos in your mind. One sentence written down can do what an hour of overthinking never will. I am not my anger. I did the best I could today. Tomorrow, I will try again. Let go of what you can't control. I'm grateful I made it this far. Simple words, powerful anchors. And you don't need a fancy notebook. You don't need the perfect pen. You don't even need a lot of time. Just a moment in the morning, or a quiet pause at night, before the world rushes in, or just as it settles. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I learning? What did I handle well today? What do I want to improve tomorrow? The Stoics used journaling as self-examination, a mirror, a map, a compass. They believed that an unexamined day was a lost opportunity. Because if you don't look inward, you drift. You react instead of respond. You repeat mistakes instead of learning from them. Journaling reclaims your attention. It reconnects you with your values. And it builds a conversation with the only person who will walk with you your entire life, yourself. You don't need to write pages. Just write truth. Even one honest line can shift your entire state of mind. I can't control them, but I can control how I show up. I was too reactive today. Tomorrow I'll pause before I speak. I feel overwhelmed, but I am not powerless. My thoughts are loud, but I don't have to follow all of them. This is Stoic mindfulness in action, not vague reflection, not waiting for insight, but putting thought into form with your own hand and your own words. Try it tonight. No pressure, no perfection, just you and the page. Journal. Don't just think, because thoughts can scatter, but what you write grounds you. And the seventh is live by virtue, not by mood. This one, it's a turning point, because it asks a question that cuts through emotion, uncertainty, and impulse. It asks you, what kind of person do I want to be, regardless of how I feel? That's what the Stoics aimed for. They weren't chasing a constant high. They weren't trying to feel better. They were trying to be better, to live on principle, not at the mercy of passing moods. Epictetus reminded us that character is formed through repetition of right action, not through moments of inspiration. Mood is changeable. It's affected by sleep, weather, words, traffic, blood sugar, deadlines. It rises and falls like the wind. If you let mood be the captain of your decisions, you'll drift, reacting, regretting, repeating. But virtue doesn't change based on your energy levels. Virtue doesn't disappear because you had a bad day. Virtue is a standard you can hold when everything else is uncertain. So what does it mean to live by virtue? It means asking in any moment, not how do I feel, but what's the right thing to do here? Not what's easiest, not what will impress others, not what will give you temporary relief, but what reflects the person you are becoming. Maybe that means choosing patience when irritation would be quicker. Maybe that means staying honest when a small lie would be more convenient. Maybe that means showing up on time, even when you're tired. Maybe it means forgiving someone, not because they earned it, but because resentment is not who you are. Living by virtue means letting your values lead, even when your feelings protest. And here's where mindfulness comes in. Because to live by virtue, you must be awake to your own impulses. You have to pause, observe, choose. You have to notice when your emotions want to grab the wheel and calmly take it back. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. It means noticing them without becoming them. Feeling anger, but not letting it decide your words. Feeling fear, but not letting it dictate your next move. Feeling doubt, but still doing what's right. And that's the shift, from emotion-driven reactions to value-driven responses. This is mindfulness with muscle, not just awareness, but action aligned with wisdom. The Stoics believed the good life was the virtuous life. That peace wasn't found in what happens to you, but in how you carry yourself through it. So next time your mood tempts you to lash out, retreat, complain, or give up, ask, what would courage do here? What would integrity say? What would discipline choose? This is how character is formed, not in rare moments of glory, but in the quiet decisions you make when no one's watching. Live by virtue, not by mood, and you'll become someone you can trust, even on your worst days. You don't need to meditate for hours to be mindful. You just need to live like a Stoic, calm, clear, focused. Pause before you react. Control what you can. Write it down. And always act from values, not mood. These aren't tricks. They're daily mental armor. And they work. If this helped you think better, like the video, subscribe for more ancient wisdom made for modern life. Stay grounded. Stay strong. And remember, you have power over your mind, not the world outside.